Ooh, let's start with some culture. The opening seconds of Post Malone's new track with The Weeknd, One Right Now, features moody lighting and Post sitting cross-legged, smoking in some swanky parlor. He's chill. He's the coolest cat in the... What? MoonPay? He's using MoonPay to buy a Bored Ape. Now forget for a moment the shameless product placement, forget that this video easily cost north of 100 grand and yet they couldn't be bothered to stump up a few dollars for someone on Fiverr to do the compositing properly. No. This video features two of the biggest music stars in the Western world. It has 11.5 million views. We have a Bored Ape being bought in a music video. That is exposure. But is it also a top signal? Well, one thing's for sure, last week saw a few cracks appearing in our crypto narrative, just little signs that things might be nearing the end of sustainable growth. We'll look at the war of words between synthetix Kain and 3 Arrows Zhu, discontent at Binance Smart Chain, Binance, yeah, I did say that, and the heroic yet ultimately failed, thank you Al for laughing, and the heroic yet ultimately failed attempt by Constitution DAO to defeat Ken Griffin in a bare knuckle boxing match for the very soul of mankind itself. Oh, hang on, the prompt is wrong. It was an auction. They bid, they lost. All that after these messages from our sponsors. DeFi users, you no longer need to pay expensive and unpredictable interest rates on your ETH loans. Liquidity, a decentralized borrowing protocol, allows you to borrow against your ETH interest-free. Loans are paid out in LUSD, a USD-pegged stablecoin, and need to maintain a minimum collateral ratio as low as 110%. To learn more, head over to liquidity.org/Defiant to get started and get the most out of your borrowing needs today. Back in good old Blighty, where I come from, Sunday lunch is always brightened up considerably by a hearty roast beef. And beef was firmly on the menu when former benevolent dictator Kain and triple flesh Avalanche fan Zhu squared off on Twitter. And the meaty exchange kicked off when Kain ran a scantily concealed subtweet lamenting the flight of previously respectable folk to the church of pure profit. Now, it's worth remembering here that Kain wrote an impassioned blog back in October 2020 explaining the synthetix team's decision to move to optimism, stating, "We've spoken to many of the teams working on the major scaling variants, and after reviewing each of them, I believe optimistic Ethereum is the scaling solution likely to reach consensus within the community." Fast forward to now, and the likes of OXTuber are reaching for gems like this. Number of homes, what? Well, this is where the tone had slipped following some predictably caustic barb-slinging from Zhu himself, no shrinking violet he, linking this article detailing Kain's rapidly expanding real estate portfolio as set against a rapidly declining bearish trend for the SNX token. Cue chin scratching. The undercurrent to all this appears to be the emergence of a smug class of ETH devotees. Now, it's probably harsh to call them all maxis, but over-enthusiastic ultrasound money proponents fixated on the fee burn. Now, only the most deluded will be able to tell anyone outside this ecosystem that ETH is suitable for mainstream use when the average transaction is over $100. Zhu certainly didn't, and he didn't hold back. Yes, I have abandoned Ethereum despite supporting it in the past. Yes, Ethereum has abandoned its users despite supporting them in the past. The idea of sitting around jerking off, watching the burn and concocting purity tests while zero newcomers can afford the chain is gross. Users are livid that they're promised a vision of the future, then told that they have to pay $100 to $1,000 per transaction to enjoy it, and then get told some tales about how they should have been smart enough to buy ETH at $10. You can observe this effect pretty much everywhere in the space. Those who got in early to projects that enjoyed outsized success exhibit smugness and superiority, and in the process marginalize those who they proclaimed to serve in the first place, and whose ranks they belong to in the first place. Now, with the Defiant, yes, we do poke fun, but we also try our best to keep an open mind. If nothing else, crypto's greatest gift lies in offering alternatives. And this week, we're going to try and look at some alternatives. So if one way doesn't work for you, then you can go elsewhere. You have that choice. Earlier this year, many found their home away from Ethereum on Binance Smart Chain. And according to DeFi station, BSC DeFi has swollen to nearly $37 billion, with daily transactions knocking out all-time highs of close to 14 million. PancakeSwap TVL sits at 17.29 billion. By all measures, BSC has had an amazingly successful year, at least on the surface. Now, a post from a disgruntled BNB holder on the BSC GitHub has revealed some deep discontent, calling the project a lost cause. Guys, seriously, WTF, this is a blockchain with supposedly billions of value, yet it's governed and developed like the project of a stoned teenager. The post outlines multiple instances of poor updates, poor communication, and poor protocol design. But before you race to sell all your tokens, it's worth bearing in mind that this kind of post is very common in crypto when investors commit heavily to one project and then over time grow disenchanted with the direction it has taken. Although, it does seem in this case that some of the criticisms are indeed valid. BSC core dev Henry K responded to the post with some honest thoughts of his own, admitting that node syncing is a problem, that the dev team is understaffed, and that communication has been poor. The question is though, when this is a Binance branded project, why are they so understaffed? Is Binance short of cash? Or is the anonymous holder right and Binance really did just want a quick hack to make some money? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Finally, Constitution DAO made waves last week when it tried and ultimately failed in a bid to purchase an original copy of the US Constitution at auction. This was the first time in 33 years that one of the 13 surviving copies of the official edition of the Constitution was coming up for auction. The DAO was hastily assembled and a crowdfunding campaign mounted through juicebox.money. The DAO aimed to partner with an institution with the capacity to properly house the document, a free to the public model, and the willingness to cover the costs associated with doing so. Now, adding ETH to the campaign gave you no rights of ownership over the piece at all, merely a governance token, people, which allowed you to have a say in how the piece would be displayed. Now, clearly, the Constitution itself is a deeply emblematic, resonant historical piece, at least if you're American, that is, and it got people to dip into their pockets. Astonishingly, they raised $47 million in just 4 days to fight the good fight at auction. But it still wasn't enough. Ken Griffin became the bad guy, the chief executive of the hedge fund Citadel, and he eventually beat them out with an offer of $43.2 million. I guess he really wanted it because the Sotheby's estimate was $20 million. Griffin himself leans somewhat skeptical when it comes to cryptocurrencies, having previously criticized the amount of time and energy spent on cryptocurrencies as a jihadist call that some people don't believe in the dollar. So maybe he was just trying to send a message to cryptocurrency. But anyway, for the Constitution DAO themselves, they found themselves in the enviable position of having built a community and having a treasury of genuine scope in record time, just 4 days. And they've now issued a plan of attack for life post-auction. Everyone who pledged can receive a refund, but they're offering those interested the opportunity to commit their funds to a DAO treasury featuring a new token, WTP, We the People. So you can ditch one shitcoin for another shitcoin and just see where it takes you. Now, while it's amazing that this was possible, I do wonder what it was that got so frothy about the opportunity to not own a tiny piece of something valuable, but a tiny fraction of something that had no value at all, except the chance to flap some gums in yet another Discord channel. Still, very impressive, yet another instance of crypto flexing its muscles outside the cryptosphere, and alongside Crypto.com acquiring the naming rights for the former Staples Center, there is no doubt that crypto is very much embedding itself into contemporary pop culture. Personally, I'm just waiting for a DAO to announce it's running for president. That was a quick take for Monday the 22nd of November. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye.